stay in the courts. The Democratic Alliance plans to appeal the Pretoria High Court ruling, dismissing the party's bid to have the ANC's cadre deployment policy declared unconstitutional. It comes after the party's victory last week when the Constitutional Court ordered that the ANC hand over all documents relating to its cadre deployment records to the DA.
What we will be doing is appealing this judgment. Our legal team is busy as we speak, digesting the judgment, but we will appeal it to the SCA and potentially directly to the Constitutional Court. We believe there can be no greater constitutional imperative than to deal with this particular matter and its effects on South Africa. If cadre deployment is continued and supported in its current form, it will continue to undermine the state, and it will continue to cause great harm to the South African people and their prospects for the future.
All right. Well, the Democratic Alliance leader there, John Steenhuisen, trying to explain as regards the loss today in the High Court. And you will recall that the entire exercise had to do this time around with declaring the ANC's cadre deployment policy unconstitutional. They are of the firm view that the cadre deployment policy simply does not work, and in fact, it is a violation of the country's constitution. Well, here to react to that is the ANC spokesperson, Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, who joins me in studio now. Ms. Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, thank you very much for your time. Let's get your reaction on this loss that has been suffered by the DA this time around.
It is a vindication of our long-held position that there is absolutely nothing unconstitutional about the practice and policies related to cadre deployment and to any deployment strategy of any incumbent government. It is a practice that is known to be done worldwide. It is something that has got to be done meticulously, of course, making sure that it serves the nation, it serves the people. The ANC has been the first to re-examine and do a self-diagnosis of the workings of the cadre development and our deployment strategy. Hence, several resolutions, including of the very recent 55th National Conference, well, not so recent anymore, speaking to the types of improvements and enhancements we need to do to make sure that that policy works.
Do you still maintain, though, that this cadre deployment policy was absolutely not intended to interfere with the appointments at state level? Do you still maintain that the separation between party and state, that line, has never been crossed?
We do maintain that. Remember, Oli, just based on the fact that our elections manifesto resonated with the people of South Africa since 1994, means that you do need people that actually believe in that manifesto. But how it gets done, it's got to be done in a way that upholds competency, ethics, and so on. So we don't see it as a conflation of party and state, and it's something that we're very mindful of, not to conflate party and state.
Well, the reason I ask you that question is because the Democratic Alliance, in what they are saying is the spirit of transparency, today, they've put up some of those documents that you had to hand over to them. And I'm sure you knew that this question was going to come because there's a particular letter that was written by the late Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, Jesse Duarte. It is dated the 2nd of March, 2020. It is addressed to your deployee in government That's Minister Ronald Lamola, responsible for justice. It's about a certain advocate, Ramola Naidu, a qualified, highly qualified female applicant, and this was a person that the ANC seemingly wanted to be appointed within the Judicial Service Commission, but she was somehow rejected. So here's the kicker about this letter, and I'm going to quote verbatim now. Ms. Duarte ends the letter by saying, "We are requesting that the issue with regards to the lack of transparency be addressed, as well as the influential role of the Chief Justice, legal profession. Please attend to this matter ASAP. Yours comradely, Jesse Duarte." That's an instruction, Ms. Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, is it not?
Well, there is absolutely nothing untoward, I would still say, untoward about the Deputy Secretary General of the organization engaging in that manner. Perhaps the tone was too active, but I can tell you, you can go to the DA records. We can produce countless letters of somebody such as Helen Zille issuing similar instructions. You can go to various parts of the global north, various parts of the global south. I know this letter, I've been asked the same question for the third time today in various interviews about the letter written by our late Deputy Secretary General. So the mechanics of how we exercise cadre development and our deployment strategy is something that is ongoing in terms of how we manage it in such a way that we respect the sovereignty of the state whilst being an incumbent government. But I don't think that there's anything actually that is so hair-raising about that particular letter in such a way that the entire narrative gets lost into that letter. Let's talk about the fact that the ANC issued all of those documents before even the DA did so today. Let's talk about the fact that the DA has been hypocritical about this, and that this is a political exercise and an electioneering exercise. Let's talk about cadre deployment in the city of Cape Town. Let's talk about that in the city of Tshwane. I would be interested.
I don't think that you have answered me, but I suspect it's going to become a back and forth between you and me. Mm-hmm. But safe to say that the ANC maintaining this public line that there is no interference between party and state, for me, in my books, that was a clear instruction to Minister Lamola to attend to this, because, quite frankly, you are irritated by the powers of the Chief Justice, and if anything, the ANC has got to attend to this matter with speed.
May I say that that's a lot of nitpicking, Oli. It's nitpicking because, on the whole, when you think about cadre development in our deployment strategy, have you taken into account some of the deployees, or so-called cadres, that have been deployed and have done excellent work? I think, top of my mind, Frank Chikane as Director General in the presidency, the early years of Madiba. I'm thinking here of Snugi Zigalala at the South African Broadcasting Corporation, and all of these people with outstanding credentials. I'm thinking here of Barbara Hogan. I'm thinking here of, in fact, it's very interesting that the DA even nitpicks about those cadres that they don't like. They seem to be comfortable with certain cadres. There are many examples that we can speak about, DGs that have gone on to really make our country proud. I'm thinking of Ambassador Vusi Madonsela, who's now ambassador in the Netherlands, but a former DG as well. Countless others. So if we must really deep dive into this conversation, let us do so.
I want to move to the budget that was tabled in Parliament today, but there's a special area I'd like to focus on, and it is that of social grants. You would have heard the Minister making certain pronouncements around how much money is going to be directed towards that in order to try and lift the poorest of the poor. But there's a problem. There's a story from Times Live. This is a news site with the caption, "A top ANC leader and government minister have suggested that the old age pension grant of 2,090 rand per month may be in jeopardy should the governing party be voted out of power." And in picture there is Zizigodwa, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. Does the ANC know about this statement, first and foremost, and do you approve of such a language from your deployees?
Well, you know, if I was being facetious, I would say go and ask him, but I won't. The position of the ANC is that when voted back, because we will be voted back, we will ensure that the comprehensive social security net is safeguarded and that it is enhanced.
However, for you to come back, as your Minister of Finance said in Parliament today, that siyabuya, but for you to come back, can you assure the South African public that you are not going to resort to blackmail, because this is blackmail to people who rely on these social grants? You're not going to use blackmail in order to be voted back into power by threatening that this social grant may be in jeopardy. In other words, it will be possibly taken away from them if they don't vote the ANC back into power.
No, we are not known for blackmail. I mean, we have evidence of the ANC-led government having introduced comprehensive social security. And it's something that we've done, you know, our actions and history and evidence presents itself.
Yeah.
Blackmail is not part of our language. We do it.
All right. Let's conclude on this note. History was made today in the Parliament. The first judge, in fact it may possibly be two by the end of the proceedings, Judge John Hlope, the judge present in the Western Cape, parliamentarians, including from the ANC's benches, have voted in support of impeaching him. Why did the ANC choose that line? Why was it important for the ANC to make sure that Judge Hlope is impeached?
Well, isn't it that it is about also protecting the institution of the judiciary? Isn't it that it is about making sure that the institution of the judiciary is blemish-free so that it is able to exercise the required oversight over both the executive as well as Parliament? Isn't it that it is about making sure that the people of South Africa have absolute trust in the conduct of judges?
And therefore Judge Hlope did cross the line. You agree?
Did cross the line. That is our position as the ANC.
Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, let me thank you very much.
Thank you very much.